The latest Cowboys news and rumors begin with an Osa Odighizuwa update. He had missed OTAs yesterday, had been undisclosed when we filmed the video on the takeaways. A couple hours later, it comes out, it's a hip injury for Osa, who should be back and good to go in time for training camp. But that makes me anxious. I'm not worried, but I'm anxious about it. I'm not panicking, but it's nagging at the back of my mind, right? Because if this team doesn't have Osa at defensive tackle, this is the worst defensive tackle room in the NFL by a massive margin. And it still kind of might already be the worst defensive tackle room in the NFL. It's terrible. It's Mozzie Smith, maybe Chauncey Golston, who is he a DE or a DT? We'll find out. Justin Rodgers, 7th round pick. Carl Davis, I don't think is that good. And UDFA Denzel Daxon. Dallas made a big deal about wanting to get better along the defensive line and didn't do anything beyond a 7th round pick. So I think an underrated, most important player is kind of Osa Odighizuwa. He's the only one we've seen play good football, consistently good football, even for a small sample size, over in their NFL career. I am anxious about that one. Now, I wouldn't be shocked if Dallas added some more help along that defensive line. If there is a move made, the Cowboys do have several open roster spots, we will have a video for you. Hit that sub button right now for free multiple times per day Dallas Cowboys YouTube videos. So Cowboys contractual updates here. Jane Slater giving some insight into where the Cowboys sit with the quote-unquote big three contracts that they're currently trying, also in air quotes, kind of sort themselves through at this time. 3 players due for new deals, not necessarily in this order. Of course, there's CeeDee Lamb, Dak Prescott, and Micah Parsons. Lamb is the one that maybe is most at the forefront because he is not present at OTAs because of the contractual stuff. Dak is present. Micah will be present next week for at least part of it, but that's where things sit for those three guys. We'll go in depth on all of them here momentarily. But predictions. Who gets paid first? By Dallas or by somebody else? Long-term deal, franchise tag does not count. 88 for CeeDee Lamb, 4 for Dak Prescott, or 11 for Micah Parsons. It is the pinned comment on this video. You should know what that means. Ads probably going to come on YouTube. It's fine. Ignore it. Head down there. Let me know. 8, 4, or 88, 4, or 11. I think the Lamb one is the one that stands out the most to me, that has the most urgency behind it in terms of potentially losing out on things. Not running into issues of we kind of missed our chance to save a couple $1 million per year. Here's what Jane Slater said on CeeDee Lamb, who I will appreciate, by the way, did actually challenge Jerry Jones, unlike most people in that the press conference. So not taking shots at others, but I want to give Jane her flowers there. Said, look, the Cowboys will do this. Well, here they don't talk. And by the way, I've been told they haven't had any conversations with CeeDee Lamb in a while, but they won't talk. We'll get to training camp, then all of a sudden, deals find their way getting done. I think CeeDee Lamb probably gets done here before camp. I would agree with Jane. I'd be very upset if they forced Lamb to hold out deep into, or if Lamb held out deep into camp. I'll take away, the forced angle there. Because there's no real benefit to waiting. It does take 2 to tango here, but players don't hold out and skip the voluntary stuff and mandatory stuff. We'll see what happens there at minicamp in June and training camp in July because they actually just want to wait no matter what. Not really how it works there. Frankly, you can overpay, and that overpay gets beat by Justin Jefferson maybe even a day later. It gets beat by Jamar Chase probably next year. Might get beat by Brandon Ayuk, or at least close to it. There are benefits to being first in line to making the contract happen because the guys behind you end up getting paid a little bit more as long as they're in the same range, the same threshold, right? Now, we will come back to where things sit with Dak Prescott, Micah Parsons, etc., in terms of where the Cowboys are trending at this time. But today's show is made possible by Prize Picks. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. Link will be in the comments section and the description of today's show. There is NBA prize picks options out there. There are WNBA, MLB, NHL, even esports, wide variety of things that you are able to have prize picks slates for. It's daily fantasy made easy. Super straightforward there, folks. I always advise the flex play when you're picking more than or less than, because it gives you some buffer in case something bad happens. Speaking of Dak, Lamb, and Micah, they are part of my NFL season-long prize picks. More thans across the board on Mahomes and Dak passing yards, Lamb touchdowns, Micah sacks, because all of those numbers are less than what they did last year. You're kind of already factoring in the injury risk. So you just take the more thans as far as I'm concerned. So go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. Link will be in the comments section and the description of today's show. That's prizepicks.com/CLNS. Now, we're going to go more in depth on Micah. I do want to point out what Chris Long and Eagles Now host good friend Chase Sr., but he's going to get bodied here, unfortunately. They're trying to push a Micah Parsons to the Eagles agenda. Chase talked about this. It's really Chris Long's fault. Chris Long was supposed to be part of that, like the Cowboys schedule release video with like the prank call stuff, whatever. Here's what Chris said. So the Cowboys call me. It's Jerry, Dak, Michael Irvin, someone else. I can't remember. They're all sitting there and they're trying to keep a straight face. And the cheerleaders are behind them like, hey, guys, don't know how long it's going to go, but I got to have something. I put Micah Parsons in a big frame in an Eagles jersey, put it behind me, had the green light hat on, trying to get some signage in there. They're trying not to crack up. I'm like, Jerry, you recognize this guy? I'm like, Jerry, can we borrow him? You've seen him at the Sixers game. They're trying to keep a straight face. Dak actually almost cracked up. So the schedule release comes out last night. I clicked the link on YouTube. They have Shane Gillis for the first time the Eagles play. I'm like, okay, the second one must be me. Dawn Staley pops up, and then me. So they split me and Dawn Staley, which is actually kind of cool. But then I go to quote tweet it and then say honored, and it's just Dawn Staley. Here's why it happened, in my opinion. Number one, they needed somebody. They got a hold of me. They couldn't get a hold of Dawn Staley until after me, so I was like 1B. Second, they don't want people seeing the Micah Parsons thing because they know it's true. Jerry knows that one day Micah Parsons will be wearing midnight green. This is the fakest of all the fake news. Eagles fans are like, oh, Micah wants to be an Eagle. And it's the meme of like with the indented brain as they say it. Parsons didn't even meet with the Eagles pre-draft. He skipped it. He's like, I don't want to meet with them. Micah literally does not want to be an Eagle. You can take my word for it, or literally Micah less than 2 weeks ago, earlier this month, saying, I quote, I didn't want to stay home. When Eagles fans talk to me like, man, you should come to Philly, I'm like, I do not want to. I went to Penn State. I wanted to get out of Pennsylvania. Eagles fans are high on opium, man. Like, this is not going to happen. They can smooth brain their way into thinking about it all the time. It's just not going to be a reality. I promise you on that. Now, back to actual football stuff here. Jane also having this report on NFL Network about Dak and Micah. I think they're going to have to figure out something with Dak Prescott, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Micah Parsons thing doesn't come to fruition this year. He's not pressed to get this deal done. Keep him on the Cowboys, picked up his fifth-year option. Will pay him around $21 million. That's more than his first 4 years on his rookie deal. They've got him through at least 2025. Now, I would probably agree that nothing happens with Micah, and that's fine as long as you get that next deal done before free agency next year. Like that window is kind of the same. It doesn't really change your year one cap hit or this year cap hit, so I'm fine with it. But, yeah, it's going to be expensive, so the longer you wait, the more it costs. So just don't wait. What would you do with Micah Parsons if you ran the Cowboys? P for you'd pay him, W for you'd wait, or T for you'd say, screw it, let's trade him. Go vote in the comment section right now. Now, look, we'll see what ends up happening here with Dak and the Cowboys, but Dak had some kind of interesting comments about his contract status with Dallas, and that have, no surprise, been picked up on a pretty national scale there. Here's what he said. I don't play for money. Never have, never cared for it, to be honest with you. Would give it up just to play this game. I allow that to the business people to say what it's worth, what they're supposed to give a quarterback of my play, a person of my play, leader of my play, I guess you could say. For me, it's about controlling what I can control, handle that part, and the rest will take care of itself. Now, outside of the first part, there's nothing wrong there, right? But come on. Sometimes this whole, like, I don't know, not holier than thou, but like the silly dance that teams and players and agents and spokesmen all do, whatever. Let's be real here. Of course the money matters. That's why you hired Todd France. That's why the first contract was such a nightmare to go through, because you would take what you were worth. Now, to be fair, saying that you, quote, don't play for the money does not mean you're saying you'd play for free. And, I think what Dak really means is it's not only about the money. But for players and agents in the player empowerment era, it's also not just about, taking whatever deal gets offered to you. It's about, hey, I got to make sure I get the most of the next guy and the next guy and the next guy and the next guy all get their money as well. Not just for him. This is for others. I mean, you saw Dak and Hurts both kind of made similar comments about that when each guy got paid. Everything else they said is true, but it's just a little silly to just like, oh, I don't play for money. Well, like, yeah, it's not just about the money. You're saying that you love football. I get that. But the money matters, as it should. I love my job. It's awesome. I would not do it for free. I'm not doing it for the money. But if I didn't have the money, I'd probably have to do something else. I got a family to feed. That's the exact same way. So I think it's good. It is getting blown out of proportion, whatever. But like, you take away that first part of the quote and just go with the I leave it up to the business people. That's fine. But let's not pretend like you're not going to try to maximize, because we've seen that before. We know that's what's happening, and that's fine. It's how players should operate. It's okay that's what it is. But you can't try to give the perfect PR answer when there's already something else that shows, well, that's not exactly true. So is this Dak Prescott's last year in Dallas? Maybe what he meant was, I'm not just going to go to the place that pays me the most money. Maybe that's what he really meant deep down. But is this his last year? Y for yes, N for no.